Hi. Hi. Uh, Welcome back, or if you're new, happy to have you. I, the reason why I was sighing earlier before I said hi, I don't know why I'm having such a hard time just making a video. This should be one of the easiest things to do, and I'm struggling with this. I, I don't know if it's because I'm trying to keep it into secrecy so I can't just willy-nilly go out into the car, or if it's like I like slightly because I don't have something to hold on my phone, I'm using my hands. Sometimes it just cuts the camera off and I can't go back and edit. It's so tough. I wanted to share stories about how I climbed up trees, and I'm just gonna try that again. I I'll try to be more better, uh, I guess, well versed or well spoken. I, like every other kid to ever exist, I was a ball of energy. But I, unlike most other kids, was not capable of the level of communication for my age that I should have. And so I, as my family would put it, I would quietly, magically do stuff, and then I almost stop myself the moment that someone I find someone catching me doing something. And this very much constituted with how I interacted with nature as well. I loved climbing trees. I loved being able to hold a branch, figure out if this thing would be able to hold my weight or not, or if it was stable enough for me to be able to to get to hold my weight, on top of being able to figure out a way to maneuver to this location safely. And I wouldn't even think, you know how cats with their claws are able to go put their sink in their nails into a tree and climb up. Like them, I didn't even think about how I would get down until I would need to get down. But I did the same steps of just either retracing my steps or testing a branch to see if it could hold my weight or not, and then going from there. And I, my, where I lived, we didn't have trees. It was so compact with houses on top of, not on top, literally, but it was houses stacked right next to each other, where someone else's our wall on one side was someone else's wall on the other. And we were lucky because we were an end house, so one wall literally was like an actual wall separating us from outside, but then the other, but if you went into any of the other sections that formed into a circle, or not a half circle or horseshoe, you'd hear just both sides of an individual's house. And I got to experience that with multiple friends throughout my childhood that lived in the same neighborhood as me, and lived in one of the sections where it was normal, like that, like it was in the middle and not at the end. But because of this, I never got to really interact with nature that much. But when I was able to do so, I loved being able to go climb trees. I remember distinctively one time I was at a friend's house and she had these gorgeous tall trees in the back. And I could tell there's this one sturdy tree that I could climb and I just impulsively wanted to climb. And I got 2/3 of the way up before I got called by the parent who owns the place. So I felt like I need to respect the mother figure in the house to come back down. And so I was like, oh, okay, I could have done more, but okay. And then, like, made my way back down. Another distinct story I remember years later, like, this is like in my like kid years, this is more my tween getting up to teenager years. I had a friend that was very rebellious, but we lived in such a bad neighborhood that her rebellious nature didn't seem that rebellious. It seemed like a like definitely not a goody two shoes, I guess you could put it. But the bad kids were the kids that decided to join into a gang. But even then, it necessarily wasn't because they, not always the case if they wanted to join because they wanted to gain power, but just they needed security. That was kind of the norm. And she had secure parents and um it didn't seem like the family was in money troubles, but we were in a bad neighborhood, so I wouldn't be like very much could have been a case of they're still like struggling on their toes, but they were still able to still be smart with how they held themselves. Because last friends I had at this time, their parents were not that competent of parents. Sorry, I I need to have this hand rest for a bit, so I'm moving hands. Um, and she unintentionally got me into a bit of a rebellious streak as well, and more so I just was hoping to have fun and doing stuff to have fun. But we went over to the elementary school during the summertime to because we were bored and wanted to play around, and they had two elementary playground spots, and then there's a park like short walking distance right next to that area. And all the kids were over in that park, so we wanted to move over to the other park where no one was playing at because we wanted to be cool. But then a little bit later in, we went a little bit further back and found the school shed, and we'd climb the fence into the school shed and particularly jump onto the top of the roof shed. And I'm not sure if we did get caught. I don't think we did. I don't. And I I'm not gonna turn on the light. It'd be weird if I just immediately jumped and flash flash of light in my face, freak me out and shock you guys. But I did that a couple of times until I think we got close to getting caught once. And so then we switched over to like moved around. This is throughout like multiple different days, by the way. So we were moving around to like different spots, different locations as we were playing to not have to worry, or as it was called, we were growing up, so it's called hanging out. But there's this one particular day, going back to the trees, that we stood right in front of the school, and there's these two huge trees that kind of stand tall and proud above, like, if you got to the top of it, it's higher than the school, it's higher than most of the houses, and I don't they didn't know. I think at first I thought, like, they challenged me because I brought up that I was once good at climbing trees, but it could have been a case of they just didn't know because I'm very quiet and don't really I didn't brag about any accomplishments that I had done. And so I think they challenged, like, my friend at the time took one tree, I took another, and my friend challenged us at the both of us to get to the highest point of climbing the trees as far up as we could. And I got up all the way to the top and got to see the beautiful, beautiful view of just the neighborhood and the town from a bird's eye view. It was gorgeous. And I didn't want to get down because I'm so used to being in the thick of the smoke and chemicals. And when I mean smoke, I mean like cigarettes. And because people smoke there so much that it was like permanent on that level. But, and I say chemicals because it was a city. And just getting higher up, it just felt like a breath of fresh air and a beautiful view of the neighborhood. And I constantly got asked questions because they saw how high up I got. And they're like, "Whoa, it's so cool!" And I answered all the questions. And then later I got down because my friend asked me to. I was like, "Wait, can you do that again?" I was like, "Yeah, of course I could do that again." I got up, didn't I? And then we ran. I'm not sure if this is the same day or another day, but we ran over, one of our other friends, so now there's three of us, went back over to the school, and I climbed up the tree again to show that I could do it. And on one day, and then I did it, and then I came back down, and they were like, "Okay, then how about the other tree?" And so I went up the other tree and did the exact same thing. And as I was getting up, one of the adults, maybe a teacher, maybe a faculty member, but I remember my friend particularly saying that it was a teacher, still summer, that was just like, "What are you doing up there? Get down there, it's dangerous." And all I could think was just, as a kid, how I had done this multiple times. It was like, "Are you kidding me? I know what I'm doing, and I've done this before. I'll be fine." But this is actually a case of I was just on school property doing something I shouldn't have been doing, and instead of just saying it as it was, she was getting mad that I was just automatically listening to her. It was getting more louder and angrier and frustrated. And then my friends told me, "Hey, come down." So I listened to them because I actually respected them. And I guess in a sense, I did gain a bit of a rebellious streak in this moment because I did not care what this woman said. And she chewed us out saying, "You'll get suspended. You'll never get to go step back on the grounds of these schools if you climb, even touch one of these trees ever again." And I didn't go to the school district because I was part of the disability group and needed to go into a whole new different city every single day to get to school. So I did not give a crap about what she said. But my friends did because they were normal kids that had to live within the school district. So they had me I was very ticked, and we backed off, and uh literally the teacher just leaves. And then there's a dude on his bike, clearly a bit older. I didn't like connect the dots of there possibly being any danger, but he just says in the most derpy voice, just, "Oh, could you do that again?" Like basically like implying like, could you climb up the tree again? Because he saw me high up climbing down, and I was planning on just responding like, "I can't do anything." And then, my friends just not literally jumped on him, but jumped on him in the sense of chewing him out and, like, picked up rocks to start throwing at him, and he was, like, backing off, like, "Whoa, whoa," and, like, started walking away. And they just turned to me like, "Don't worry, we got your back." And as a kid, I was just like, I we could've just said no, and then back off in the moment, and if he didn't try anything, then we'd escalate. But I think I appreciate that they did it now. And, yeah, just I don't think ever since then I was able to actually climb trees. So, just fun moment for me. If you, like the video, please like it. If you wanna hear me ramble, please subscribe, and I'll let you go. Bye.